Imagine a world where the warning lights just don't flash, where an attack doesn't come with missiles, or tanks crossing a border.
Mm.
Instead, it's something way more insidious, a silent invasion. Starts in the air we breathe, the news we read, the systems we rely on every day.
Yeah, a war fought not with bombs, but with whispers,
Yeah.
with subtle manipulation.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a really unsettling story from an ebook series, Operation Sunfall, The First Strike. Our job here is to unpack its early chapters, specifically the one called Sunfall, and pull out those key moments. We want to see how it shows a nation being brought to its knees, basically without a single shot fired by an enemy army.
Right, it's this multi-layered stealth attack. And the scary part, it starts way before anyone even knows they're under attack. It turns everyday life itself into a weapon.
So the story kicks off 3 days before it all began, as the book puts it. Mostly we see things through the eyes of Julia Adler, the White House press secretary.
But we also get perspectives from, the CIA, DHS, cyber, border protection, even the National Security Advisor. It's like putting together puzzle pieces.
Exactly. It shows how all these seemingly random things, a weird illness, satellites going dark, social media blowing up, how they might actually be connected.
Part of a huge coordinated global plan. This whole deep dive really shows how critical it is to connect those dots, especially when someone's trying hard to hide them to create confusion.
Okay, let's dive in. 3 days out, 6:30 a.m., Washington, D.C., Julia Adler. She's got this feeling, something's just wrong.
Yeah, she mentions always thinking America would see a big threat coming. Flashing lights, sirens.
But this morning, no blinking lights, just the hum of recycled air, and she notes this, growing smell of Lysol everywhere.
That smell, usually reassuring, right?
Yeah.
Cleanliness. But here it feels ominous, like a warning in itself.
Then the first real signs hit. Her deputy, Jason, tells her 3 deaths overnight in Kansas City, 2 more in Nashville.
And these aren't just any deaths. The symptoms are terrifying. Rapid neural degradation, hemorrhaging, massive brainstem inflammation.
The victims are young, too, 20s to 40s, and they go downhill fast, like 36 hours.
Julia's immediate thought, and this is straight from the source, this isn't flu. That's a huge moment.
It really is that immediate gut reaction.
And it's that speed, the weirdness of the pathogen, that makes it so chilling right from the start.
Yeah.
You might want to write it off as a bad flu season.
But the symptoms, the speed, the neurological stuff, it's clearly not that. As the book says, no one's calling it that anymore.
Which instantly shifts it, doesn't it? From just a public health issue to something else.
Mm.
Something maybe deliberate.
Exactly. Signaling to everyone, including us reading it, that this is likely not natural.
And spoiler alert, it absolutely wasn't. Let's jump to 8:10 a.m., Langley. CIA Global Threat Desk. We meet Maya Durrani.
Right. She's looking at this map of the U.S. and it's just blinking red. Cases of this neurological thing in 37 hospitals, 7 states, Phoenix to Pittsburgh.
That spread alone is weird. It's too wide, too fast.
And the analysis confirmed it. The epidemiological models, they just didn't fit any known natural outbreak pattern.
And crucially, the vectors didn't line up. Think about how viruses normally spread, right? Community transmission, following travel lines.
But this, it pops up almost simultaneously in rural Georgia, East LA, and a native reservation way up in Montana. Totally disconnected places.
Which leads Maya to that chilling conclusion. This wasn't community spread, it was placement.
Placement, that implies intent, delivery.
Precisely. It suggests a deliberate act. Biological warfare, basically.
Yeah.
Targeted deployment, not some random outbreak.
And then her intel query hits Operation Sunfall, unconfirmed domestic penetration risk BRICS.
BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Mentioning them immediately suggests a state-level actor, a global player. Suddenly, it's not just a health crisis, it's geopolitics, a huge escalation.
Then fast forward to 1:00 p.m. National Security Council meeting. The HHS secretary leads it out.
Yeah. Says the pathogen originated in southern China. And it has these really weird characteristics. Uncharacteristic dormancy periods.
Genetically variable delayed activation tied to metabolic triggers. What does that even mean, practically?
Well, think about it. A virus that just sits there, inside you,
Yep.
totally dormant, undetectable, until something specific triggers it. Maybe something in your diet or stress.
So you could spread it everywhere, silently, before anyone gets sick.
Exactly. Allows for a global, synchronized attack without anyone noticing until it's too late, turning people into unwitting carriers.
And then the hammer drops. The HHS secretary says flat out, this is not naturally occurring.
Followed by the Director of National Intelligence confirming. Fort Detrick confirms the pathogen has been engineered.
Wow, that's the moment, isn't it? The aha moment.
Absolutely. For the characters and for us listening,
Mm-hmm.
it locks it in. This isn't just a disease, it's a weapon, an act of aggression.
It completely changes the game. National security isn't just about missiles anymore, it's about microbes.
And recognizing that shift, that the front line might actually be in our hospitals, that's crucial for how you even start to respond.
Totally. And the human cost is driven home later that night around 7:80 p.m. in a San Diego ER, Dr. Luis Ortega.
Yeah, he sees these three young, healthy people just die, describes their lungs like glass, cerebellum swollen so much it's cracking the skull. Horrific details.
Then he gets this hand-delivered CDC report. One word highlighted. Engineered.
It makes that abstract threat painfully real, puts a face on it.
But the bug wasn't the only weapon being used, right? There was infiltration happening too. Sleeper cells.
Right, and this ties back to Maya Durrani's intel from earlier. Remember that suppressed report 6 months prior?
About Brazilian nationals linked to illegal border crossings.
Exactly. But they weren't typical migrants or smugglers. They had this military posture, used specific Portuguese dialects linked to Brazilian PMC's private military contractors, mercenaries basically.
Highly trained. And they just vanished after crossing. Into Texas, Utah, New Jersey.
Yep. And the NSC meeting confirms it later. At least 14 foreign nationals linked to Brazilian military intelligence came in legally too on work visas for agricultural robotics firms. 6 of them also disappeared.
Agricultural robotics. That's clever cover.
It shows the synergy, right? The bioweapon needs delivery.
Mhm.
And what's quieter than human vectors, already inside, perfectly placed.
Deeply embedded. And it wasn't just people sneaking across, was it? There was something else at the border.
Oh yeah, that incident at 9:05 a.m. Southern Texas. A CBP officer spots 2 figures walking, like with purpose. One's checking a device, maybe GPS.
And then the really weird part.
A third signature moved out. A quadruped. Small, artificial. Little robot dog, maybe?
Could be. And then the camera feed just glitches, freezes. 30 seconds later, it's back online. And
Poof, they're gone. Only dust remained.
that is unsettling. What kind of tech are we dealing with here?
It raises huge questions, right?
Yeah.
Autonomous units, AI maybe? Crossing borders, evading surveillance, using electronic countermeasures to blind the cameras.
Suggests a really high level of sophistication and meticulous planning, way beyond just sneaking people across.
And the digital infiltration was just as sneaky. 11:25 a.m., DHS cybersecurity. Dana Upton finds these things she calls ghost hammies.
Ghost MZs, what are those?
So embassy address is like a unique ID for any device on a network, right? These were fake addresses broadcasting from cell towers, but they didn't lead anywhere. They didn't resolve.
Like digital ghosts in the machine.
Exactly. And they weren't new. They'd been seeded into U.S. infrastructure for over a year, lying dormant.
Only activating briefly during busy times so they wouldn't trigger alarms.
Precisely. It's not about quick hacks. It's about long-term preparation. Planning digital sleeper agents inside critical systems, waiting for the signal.
That implies years of planning, setting up digital backdoors.
It forces a rethink of cybersecurity, doesn't it? Not just reacting to attacks, but hunting for these hidden threats planted long ago.
Okay, so we have the pathogen, physical infiltration, digital backdoors. What's the third front?
Information warfare. Weaponizing social media. Around 11:50 a.m., Dana Upton's dashboard just lights up, blinked red, with trending social media hashtags.
Where was it coming from?
Globally,
Mm-hmm.
mostly from abroad, Belarus, Brazil, Serbia, botnets mostly, and the platforms being hit hardest, TikTok and X.
And the messages.
A coordinated attack on trust. Hashtags like hashtag no more lies, hashtag Fort Detrick leak, hashtag military cover-up. They even named the disease hashtag Emerson flu after the president.
Claiming it was made in the U.S., an escaped bioweapon.
Yep, pushing fake, leaked CDC memos, fake videos of emergency morgues in secret FEMA camps.
Yeah.
Total disinformation campaign.
Dana Upton's reaction sums it up. Someone wasn't just muddying the waters, they were poisoning the well.
And she noted how fast and coordinated it was, aimed right at the center of the country, the heartland. It's psychological warfare, pure and simple, trying to fracture trust, create panic.
And wasn't just online chatter, was it? It started to spill over.
Definitely. By 9:00 p.m., the FBI's social media team, specifically Agent Evelyn Brooks, is seeing these digital red zones pulsing across the U.S. heartland, traced back to servers in Belarus and Serbia again.
Using what kind of techniques?
Everything. Botnets, AI amplifiers, sock puppet accounts, all synchronized. pushing even more aggressive hashtags. Hashtag DARPA hashtag CDC genocide, hashtag let it burn, hashtag red state uprising.
Good grief, and deepfakes too.
Oh yeah, deepfake videos of fake FEMA camps, fake CDC executions, AI-generated whistleblowers, stuff designed to look incredibly real.
And the scariest part,
Verified influencers were sharing them, both right-wing and left-wing pages, pushing different narratives, but all fueling outrage. It's a classic divide-and-conquer tactic.
exploiting existing divisions.
Exactly, leading to a massive 600% increase in hostile domestic chatter. People weren't just angry online anymore.
It led to acceleration talk. What's that?
Calls for real-world violence, vigilante raids, town hall ambushes, even citizen tribunals, people planning attacks.
And they had specific targets.
Chillingly specific. 4 hospitals, 2 governors, 3 CDC labs, and a lot of federal buildings. This is that turning inside-out strategy. Use InfoWar to make a country attack itself.
Terrifyingly effective. While all this is happening on the ground and online, something else is going on way above us, right? Blinding the nation.
Yes, back to Maya Durrani's intel from the morning.
Hmm.
Remember the Chinese satellites going dark? Repositioning without notice. Russia cutting data feeds.
That wasn't just spying, was it?
No, it was setting the stage. By 3:03 p.m., U.S. Space Command confirms it's worse. 3 Chinese satellites moved again, into paths over the Pacific Northwest. 2 Russian platforms dropped lower.
Creating what they called a full-spectrum EM web over North America.
Basically, yeah, blanketing the continent with electromagnetic interference. Not just listening, but preparing to actively jam communications. Cut everything off.
Isolate the battlefield. The technician's conclusion was stark. We're not just blind, we're deaf. They're about to cut every channel.
Makes it incredibly hard to coordinate any kind of response when you can't talk to each other. Creates chaos.
And did that start happening? Did the channels get cut?
We see the first hints on the ground. Later that night, 9:45 p.m., Jason reports to Julia. Baltimore has reports of a telecom outage they can't trace.
Oh, so the orbital moves weren't just theoretical. They were starting to have real-world effects. The blackout begins.
And all these different threads, biological, physical, digital, informational, orbital, they start coming together into one big coordinated global strike.
How so? What were the final pieces?
Around 4:05 p.m., Maya gets reports from Europe. Blackout in Vilnius, Lithuania. Drone intrusion in Tallinn, Estonia. Russian tanks near the Suwałki Gap.
That's a major hotspot between Poland and Lithuania. Very strategic.
Highly strategic. Then comes the clincher. An intercept from Brazilian Navy ships in the South Atlantic. One line decrypted. All elements in position. Awaiting signal.
Maya forwards it with just one word. Sunfall, the operation name.
And then minutes later, 4:42 p.m. Brussels time.
Bang.
Bang. NATO Minister Helena Voss is assassinated by a bomb planted on a motorcycle.
Just like that. No warning, no claims of responsibility.
Nope. No organization took credit, no manifesto, no demands, only silence and fear. Pure destabilization. A cold strike at NATO.
Seems like a classic false flag or something to create chaos just when everyone's distracted.
Exactly. So confusion among allies slow down any potential response. It shows the global reach hitting multiple fronts at once to overwhelm and prevent a united reaction.
And the pressure kept mounting right up to midnight.
Relentlessly. Jason's final updates to Julia around 9:45 p.m. Brazilian power grid just shifted to emergency frequency. Uh-oh. Chinese naval vessels have gone dark south of Taiwan. Double uh-oh.
It sounds like major powers preparing for something big or reacting to the start of it.
And then totally out of the blue, shocking news. Gov of Florida killed in helicopter crash.
Boom, another high-profile hit or an accident exploited.
The book doesn't say, but the timing is suspect. And what's really telling is how fast things moved afterward. A new governor was sworn in just 36 minutes later.
36 minutes. That suggests they weren't just causing chaos, they were ready to exploit it instantly. Testing the system's resilience, maybe?
Probing for weakness, creating maximum instability. It's another layer of the attack. See how quickly the target can recover leadership.
Meanwhile, what was the president doing? Back at that 1:00 p.m. meeting, after hearing the virus was engineered.
President Emerson's first order was, tell no one. We don't want to panic. Not yet.
Which must have been incredibly difficult for Julia Adler, the press secretary. The source says she quietly left the room before she screamed.
You can imagine the pressure. But later, around 5:00 p.m., she starts drafting this statement, capturing the awful reality.
What did it say?
We've been attacked not with missiles or soldiers, but with silence. With pathogens delivered in the breath of friends and strangers. Powerful stuff.
And she concluded.
The flu is not the flu, and America is not alone. But the First World War of this century has already begun, and it began in the bloodstream.
Wow. So by 9:45 p.m. that night, she decides.
She tells Jason, "Tell the networks. Prepare the emergency feed. We go live the second he authorizes it."
Knowing it would cause panic.
Yeah, she acknowledges that. It'll cause panic, she says, but adds, people need to see the truth before it disappears. A really potent closing for this first phase of the story. Leaves you hanging.
Okay, so we've walked through these opening stages of Operation Sunfall, and the picture it paints is, well, it's staggering.
It really is. You've got the bioweapon delivered silently. You've got the physical infiltrators, the sleeper cells, maybe even those robotic things.
Then the digital ghosts, the Ghost MX, hidden in the infrastructure for ages.
Plus the satellites maneuvering to blind and deafen the entire country. And overlaying all of it, this massive information war, turning people against each other.
All synchronized with geopolitical hits like the assassination in Brussels, the governor's death. It's complex.
It drives home that point, doesn't it? That silence, that subtle undermining can be way more devastating than a loud, open attack.
So, thinking about all this, a question for you listening. What really stands out to you from this picture of a multi-layered attack?
Yeah, how does a story like this make you rethink what war even means today? It's
Okay.
clearly not just soldiers and tanks anymore, is it?
It feels like the battlefield has expanded to our bodies, our social media feeds, our infrastructure.
It forces you to ask, are we even looking in the right places? Are we prepared for a war that doesn't declare itself with trumpets?
Absolutely. And that leads to maybe the final chilling thought from this deep dive. If the First World War of this century really did start in the bloodstream, as Julia put it, and in those digital red zones,
Without any official declaration.
how would we as a society even know? How would we recognize it, let alone start to fight back before it was just too late?
Something unsettling to think about long after we wrap up here.